Welcome to the No Shame Podcast. So finally at the end of the first week that we were all waiting for to get back to the medicine, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and training in the gyms, or wherever wherever you think that your class as your fix or whatever it is. Mine would be Jiu-Jitsu, swimming in the sea, and being able to be around people that I admire and have a lot of respect for through hard graft and grit that we've shared on the mat. Today was the first Sunday mass back, as we call it here in SVG Dublin 24. Unfortunately, I didn't get to make it myself, but seeing some of the pictures was amazing. So what we have done is we've had one class on in the evening, and we have two floors here. We're very grateful and lucky to be able to put two classes on at the same time. Obviously kept inside under the 50 people inside indoors. And it's working, which is so it's good to see the first week that the small businesses have kind of flew the nest again and are building themselves back up. I'm truly inspired by people that can just keep getting back and they just don't fall down when they're expected to fall down, because that this has been a hard time for all of us in all ways. I got to spar the other day. Close combat contact sports are allowed back now, and I have to say it was absolutely amazing. There is nothing like it. There is nothing like the idea of doing 6 3-minute rounds and being in that adversity of somebody coming at you, trying to hit you, trying to take you down, trying to choke you, trying to definitely it keeps me fresh, it keeps me alive, it keeps me exactly where I need to be doing exactly what I need to be doing. So that's enough for the intro today. I have an absolute pioneer of the sport of mixed martial arts here on Skype, and I have to say this man is somebody that I look up to in many ways, especially in coaching, because James Doolan is from the small part of Scotland, and he has rose up and become one of the best coaches in mixed martial arts. His accolades I cannot find them anywhere else. On another coach, he's absolutely a veteran in his field, and he is extremely humble, which I love also. We're going to get a translator as well, because maybe the two of us, a Scottish man and an Irish man, having a conversation, might be a little bit hard for the listeners. But if you need any trouble translating that, and shoot us a message and we'll translate it for you. So James is actually out in Dubai at the moment, on his way to the island. So one of his fighters is heading out to compete against Makwan. So they are fighting on the island that the UFC have exclusively made, runways, hotels, all sorts. I think yesterday when I was looking at his social media, he was in a hotel that was surrounded by a Formula 1 court. So for somebody that I would have got on here any day to have a chat about coaching and all this stuff, I'm probably not going to be able to get as much of that in as I can, because I want to hear what the setup is on the testing and all of this sort of stuff. So yeah, James Doolan, everybody. Oh, there we go. Oh, James is all shaved up and all, James.
All right.
I'm going to be ringing loads of random Jameses there, so hopefully I don't get loads of phone calls back. Story of my life with this thing. Yeah, how prank calling has changed. What? You just, some bloke pops up on your screen. Sorry, mate, not you. How are you getting on, mate?
I'm bored, man. I'm proper bored.
Oh no, it's not all glorious. It's not all glorious, is it?
Nah, everybody thinks we're on holiday. You know what it's like.
Yeah. I used to hate that when you were leaving the house. It's like, oh, so you're off on holidays again, are you? And you're like, no, I'm off to sit in a hotel and make people, dip people in baths.
Aye, pretty much.
And the smell of it never goes, doesn't it? No?
I'm not looking forward to that, man. Especially it's warm here, obviously here all the time, and the thought, you know what it's like when that fucking hot bath's there all the time. That'll be shit.
Slipping around on grease and the smell of it.
It could be worse. At least I'm not getting in the fucking thing.
I know, yeah. That's always the only way to stay. Well, at least I'm not the one going in. Yeah. James, we've been trying to get you on this for a while now. I wanted to actually get you in the studio. That's why I didn't want to have you on Skype, because it's harder. Because I love the energy in studio. You know what I mean? So when you are over, we'll get you in. But I'm a massive fan of your coaching. I was a fan of it when I was coming up. I was just under you and Paul and stuff like that as well. So I was always looking up the hill at what you are doing and trying to learn from it. And even now today, I'm still keeping my eye on. I would keep you, Paul Rimmer, obviously John Danaher and stuff like that, Preet Nicholson and probably Chris Hother in my top 5 of people that I study and I look at and what they're doing. And I love what you do, mate.
Thanks for that, man. That's a good company to be in with you guys.
Yes, of course. And I'm telling you, and you're up there at the top of it as well, because I'm only at the being saying coming on is I love the idea of people probably coming from places where they shouldn't be who they are in their sport. Like, think about it. Yeah. Scotland's probably not the hotbed, and Dublin's probably not the hotbed, and these places because it doesn't have a wrestling base and all these sort of stuff. What made you believe that you are like, man, I can do this?
Sometimes I'm still looking to believe. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm like, fucking hell, I've done it. Like we just came off a win over Michael Johnson there, and even back when that time I was at Invicta with you and Ash and stuff, and Joanne was fighting and stuff. Yeah. I was like, fucking it. We used to train in a wee hall, and people are flying us to America to fight and stuff. So sometimes I tend not to think about it too much, man, because it can get a wee bit overwhelming for me. So I just kind of deal with it, like train, turn up and take care of it on the night type of thing. But I don't know, man. I've kind of surpassed any of the expectations I had. I used to want to, like, it was the same with fighting. I was like, I want to have one fight just to see what it's like, and it will make me a better coach. And then I never even, I kind of wanted to coach for a while, but I was like, I need to understand it more, so I threw myself into it. But even still, I try not to think about the level as any different. I treat the amateur guys having their first fight the same as the guys fighting in the UFC. I think if I start making the difference in it stuff, it can get a wee bit overwhelming for me, like when I start thinking about the arenas and the amount of people watching and shit like that. But I think it's just a fight at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you may be getting that as being a fighter as well, because I know when I used to win the door, I used to be saying to myself, like, it's the same thing. Like, everything else is just a hang on. I still say it to my own guys now. So if you've got a young team here, I'm trying to I've been coaching for many years, but now it's an idea, like, this is my chance to be, like, this is what I wanted to do from the start, is like build a team, travel around, get the experience. Like, I probably didn't even want to be a fighter, James, to be honest. I kind of like yourself. I love the coaching aspect. I love the development part of it, and I went and done coaching study courses and all these kind of courses when I was young to make sure that when I was finished that I was able to do it. So I probably got into it to coach rather than fight in a way. And that's the part I love, the study part of it. And what you were saying there, I think, is a massive thing. You're probably thinking it's small, but I think it's massive, that being able to keep everything like it's your first day. Like Biggie said, in the way, like, if you just like it's your first day and don't kind of glow up. I think you do that better than anyone, James. You do it better in the way that you probably have more accolades for your fighters regarding championships from national level all the way up than probably most of the world coaches out there. So obviously the gem in the thing is going to be the UFC title someday. You keep so humble. You're able to stay so, I don't know, grounded or something like that. What's the trick to that?
I don't like attention, man. I don't like cameras. I'd rather listen to people than talk. I don't know. Attention's not for me. It's a sport where you're kind of surrounded by attention seekers all the time, and it's not in me. It'd be fake for me to be like that. So I like to just sit back and watch, and study stuff, like the same way we study martial arts, just study the game and the coaching side of it, and even like how the promotions are run and stuff like that. So I think I always make better decisions if I can keep a distance fit, and just sit back and see the whole picture instead of like going after accolades and attention. And it becomes about me that way, and I don't want that. It should be about the fighters, I think. And you see a lot of coaches that they're more concerned with being famous than their fighters succeeding. And that isn't for me.
No, I agree with you. And the idea is that it's when you are the fighter in the dressing room and then you are the coach in the dressing room, you kind of really understand the idea of what you need in there, isn't it? Because no matter who you are, no matter how long you're fighting, I think it says the same. When you get to the dressing room and you're getting ready to fight that day, there's nearly like you need that pact between. I think Darren Hill has it really well between his coach in the way where they're not mates in a way, and he would kind of, if his coach said jump in the Liffey there or jump in the some river in Scotland somewhere, he would. Do you know what I mean? He still has that like that young lad in him still inside where he's looking at his coach for the next answer. And when they get to the dressing room, they can nearly lean on each other and rely on each other and know what their abilities. I'd say, like, you have that with your guys. You have so many guys that you've been with from the start, such a good relationship with. What's the differences between people in the dressing rooms, do you think? And your lads, who would be the differences?
There's some similarities. Like, there's a lot of trust there between, I trust them, they trust me. And that's all came pretty much through. I know the fact that we've all put the work in. Like, nobody's cut any corners. We've done everything that we can up to that point. And then it's just the big thing for me is just dealing with everybody on an individual basis. Like, realising that some guys don't need a lot of attention. They just need to know that you're there. And then other guys need certain things. It's just try to figure out the personality of the fighter you're dealing with, I think, and then kind of basically moulding everyone around about that, their style of fighting, how you deal with them, how you communicate with them. I think that's the thing that a lot of guys that are not having success are using like a cookie cutter approach to coaching. They just coach everybody the same. Even to an extent where sometimes when you're getting fighters coming out of certain gyms, you know certain gyms are good at certain things, whether it's positions or areas of the sport. Whereas what I always try and do is try and keep the guys as well-rounded as possible, but try and build like a fighting style in regards to how their personality is. Like, it needs to mirror it, and it needs to kind of gel with it. I think once you understand that, it makes everything a lot easier instead of just treating everybody the same, which is you'll get one or two good fighters from that, I think, but the goal isn't to have one or two good fighters. The goal for me is always to make sure everybody that comes in gets better, whether they fight or not.
Yeah,
so I think that's it.
I think finding that system in a way that's not like, there is no system for building a fighter, I think, as what you said there, and I would agree with you as well. But there's a certain system. There's a small nucleus, but then everybody grows different. Would it be right to find that in a way? Like, you have to you obviously have to learn like the level change and not reach and all like the basics of them stuff, and then the personality does usually grow the fighter itself. Like, the long guy becomes that lean, the confident guy, the shy guy. What would you say about somebody that comes into the gym? All right, so two different ends of the track. One guy is really, really shy, but extremely coachable and can fight. And then you have the opposite end where you get a guy that's really, really confident, but can't box eggs.
Yeah, I think the process. I know at our gym anyway, the process people go through, you end up getting humbled by it. It's a big thing, and especially in jiu-jitsu. Like, we used to have our old gym right next door to a weightlifting gym. A lot of guys in there on all sorts of steroids and stuff, like typical. Every city's got these kind of kids kicking about, and every now and again we'd get them coming in. It'd maybe be after like a big UFC or something. You'd get them coming in, and they'd jump in, and on purpose I'd put them with like a 70-kilo blue belt. And then I'd say, this is what's happening. If you're uncomfortable at any point, tap out or whatever. I wouldn't let anybody punch him in the head or anything. But
yeah, no, I agree.
And our guys would just, the 70-kilo blue belt, you know it yourself, man, would just positionally dominate them, get them tired, smother them, and eventually tap them. And you could see that in them. And I think by the time people get to the level where they want to compete at our gym, they've been put through they've been humbled so much with having to tap and having to admit that they don't know that much really about fighting or even as an athlete. So they're just learning all the time. They become so dependent on the rest of their team running about them that they just become a better person. Like, you can't be you need to be selfish to an extent, but at the same time, they can't be overly selfish. And I think it's just that. It's just that humbling process of getting stripped down and then building back up. I think generally, most guys that I know that have stuck about have experienced that. They've been into the gym and they're not the best guy in the gym, technically or even physically. But eventually they persist with it and they endure, and everyone just starts coming together with it.
I feel that that's nearly a life lesson there that you're saying, rather than even just a fighting lesson that could translate, like where the idea of stripping yourself down. Because if you come into anything and you have some sort of prejudged ego towards that, I think if you mean you nearly have to strip that, don't you, off so you can really start again. That is 0 point of knowledge in a way. Would you agree with the idea of fighting or jiu-jitsu and these things being one of the best things that you could probably use for to grow in life? And because you said that not just as a fighter or competing.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think it's really noticeable for me with jiu-jitsu, but the learning and the problem solving aspect to it, and then just the fact that you're getting beat every time you go in the, I know for me anyway, every time I go in the mat I'm tapping every single session.
Yeah.
To a point now where my students and stuff are tapping us, and it's good for you, man. It just keeps you grounded and stuff. And the way that I've picked up and learned jiu-jitsu has helped me understand striking, because striking came really natural to me. I always moved pretty well. I was relatively quick, and I've been doing it since I was a kid, so I never really thought too much about it. I just done it. Whereas jiu-jitsu, I think it's maybe for having a striking background, the jiu-jitsu side of stuff was a task for me to learn it. I was uncomfortable for day one, but I was determined to get good at it. And I think just understanding, even coaching jiu-jitsu more has made my striking better, and definitely understanding and kind of learning about myself, learning jiu-jitsu has made my coaching better. I can systemize stuff a wee bit better. I can appreciate stuff a wee bit more, just because I know how much hard work it is to learn it, and also just at the rate it's evolving it, because some of the stuff with the striking, it got to a stage where I wasn't really learning much more. By the time I was fighting like in Thai at a good level, I wasn't really picking up new techniques or stuff. Whereas with jiu-jitsu, it just seems to evolve so quick.
That stops.
There's techniques now that weren't here 2 years ago and stuff like that. So it just keeps your attitude towards life. Like you need to always be learning, or you become stagnant. And as soon as you become stagnant, everyone's passing you by.
I was only saying that before we came on when I was doing the introduction here, of the idea of like Friday I got to spar with the lads, and like I still get to spar with the lads and stuff. Like even though I had to retire because of a medical, like people, they'd be like, I remember people ringing me, "Are you all right, mate?" I'm sound like if you let me go tomorrow, I would be able, like I would go. You know what I mean? Because it's just, I don't know. So it's in you after a while. Now obviously you have to get your fitness and up, but listen, I'm Irish. I'd give it a good go. We'll swing to my dead. But that aspect there, I think, is it's bang on there, James, about the idea of getting better at striking because of jiu-jitsu. And I get better at life because of jiu-jitsu. When I first found jiu-jitsu, I remember just being like, I'm in love straight away. I was uncomfortable and stuff like that, but I'm long and dangly. The striking part like got to me. I was always awkward. I could always hit someone, and it was hard enough as well, because you know you don't even know how long, just the levers. But do you feel that, like, so say if you have somebody that's really, really high level in Thai, or really, really high level in, say, kickboxing, like point kickboxing and then K1 and stuff like that, it doesn't really transfer, I think, as much anymore, where you just get a K1 coach or just get a Thai coach and then you do a Thai class and then you're good at striking. I think if you do get a coach that can kind of like see the jiu-jitsu part of striking, like the idea of, say, I don't know, stepping back, being an orthodox, and then maybe stepping back into southpaw, they throw a jab, and you have a left hand right uppercut now. But you know the play of it, and you know how it works, rather than just going through the motions of the toughness part of it, you know? Like, would you agree with that? I find some coaches can't see it the way I see it, and they be looking at you like, yeah, but like, your striking's not great. But it's like, yeah, but I see it. I can see it. Like, my bolo's not great, but I can tell you how to do it, you know? I understand it.
Yeah, definitely. I think a big thing for me was just applying the lessons I learned for jiu-jitsu, and even watching like the best guys coaching it and how they taught it. I was like, I can apply that to striking and just get like core fundamentals and make sure everybody's got the fundamental stuff, which would be like the positioning and imbalance and stuff, and then just let them learn off of that. Like, I refer to it when I'm teaching guys, it's like I make sure they've got all the basics covered, so the ABC stuff. And then we start styling it. I kind of refer to it as putting their own fingerprints on it, and it's just like styling everything towards them. But that's came for jiu-jitsu, because everybody in striking needs to have good footwork, head movement, a good jab, and stuff, and then build from there to an extent. And then, but with jiu-jitsu, it's like you get the positions right, and then let's start looking at what ways is best for you to pass guard, and depending on your style. So when you cross that over to striking, not even just with physicality, like we were talking about, like a tall guy, he's going to want everything at range and stuff like that. It's like even like some guys are a big thing for me is personality. Like I have trouble sometimes with Stevie Ray where he could jump into fights and just fight. Like he was like that as an amateur. I think he did 8 or 9 fights in a year. He was training one night a week at a Thai boxing gym and one night a week at a jiu-jitsu gym. He didn't really know MMA until he came to train with us. He hadn't sparred MMA. He had 6 or 7 pro fights at this point. And then when you start piecing it together and then going over, like controlling his personality sometimes, because there's fights when he has to go into, like an example is when he lost 2 in a row at the UFC, he had to get into the fight with Jess Nayari, knowing that if he lost the fight, you're probably going to get cut. And he wants to just go in there and get let off the lead and just go after the guy. And I'm thinking, like, if you do that, it'll play into what this guy wants. So he's had to go in there and be really disciplined. I've had to put the brakes on him, make sure he does enough to get a win on points. If the finish comes, then it comes. But so you're trying to tailor a guy who's not used to, he's not that type of fighter. He's fighting against type for the sake of the business, because it's how he provides for his family. And every guy on our team's had that at some point. You've had to get them to fight slightly different for how they want to fight sometimes, or at least have the ability to do it if it's needed. I think that's a big thing.
I think that obviously they I hope they know how grateful they are to have someone that knows that and that's saying that to them now, with the idea of they are fighting for their families. And when you're going to make fighting as a career, all you're trying to say to go is be very careful for when this is finished, because it'd be like a bucket of water with a hole in it. If you're not putting water into it, eventually it will end up empty, because you're going to end up at 80 years of age, and if you don't earn enough money to last you to 80, your bucket's going to be empty someday, and then you're going to have to look around and figure out how do you feed for your family. So if you want to go down that road, make sure that you have water going into your bucket before you decide to just go all in on a bucket of water. Do you get what I mean? In a way, it's kind of a way of trying to explain it to them, and they see it. I think you're hitting it there. I do understand what you mean about Stevie Ray, because I watched him one time at New Year's Eve on Cage Warriors in Dublin in the Helix. Might have been the night Conor won the belt. Would that have been the same night?
I think it was the following year. I think Conor just got to the UFC.
Right.
Stevie was fighting.
Right, and Stevie Ray was defending the title, was he?
Yeah, against Ivan Bishinga, who Conor had beat.
Yeah, and I think there, like, Stevie Ray was scrapping for a little bit of that fight as well, I think, because that was a bit of a barn burner, that was. So,
yeah.
What do you mean about Stevie?
Yeah, he was sick that night, man, and I think he was doing really well, actually. He looked like he was coasting.
Yeah.
And then there was a mad Ivan Bishinga done his thing that he takes a bit of a beating for 2 rounds and then comes back and submits you. It was a good learning experience for us, that one.
Yeah, but it's one of them magic situations when you're looking back at it now, James. So you're sitting in. Are you actually on the island now, or are you in Dubai?
We're on the island. We're quarantining in our hotel room. I think we're allowed out tomorrow. We've been here, done 2 days in London, flew here, and this is our 2nd day here. So we've been stuck in a room for 2 days. So
you're on the island. I'm going to talk to you about that situation now. I just wanted to get you to tell the story of, because I've read it probably 2 or 3 times when you posted it yourself, and I want to make sure that people in Ireland know that you're a bit of a mad bastard, all right? The story of you and Paul McVeigh, and I'm going to use the picture if you don't mind. You and Paul McVeigh heading to Japan to fight years of on a weight cut as well.
It was the worst experience ever.
That story.
Paul got the fight in Japan. He was a Cage Warriors champion at the time. Was fighting the Shooto champion. Paul had already made bantamweight at that point, and I was still competing at featherweight. We got a message just saying there was another opportunity to fight at bantamweight against I can't remember the guys. I can't even pronounce the guy's name. I'll wreck it if I try and say it. But he's a good guy. He fought Faber and Pulver and stuff. And they're like, you can make this weight, you can have the fight. And I was like, well, I'm going anyway, so I may as well. I wasn't a big featherweight anyway. I'd fought Thai and stuff at 63 kilos, so I knew I could get in. But we signed this contract that I didn't really read until we got there. But the contract said if we'd missed weight, we were eligible for the opponent's purse, the hotels, and the flights. It came to close to about £5,000, which I didn't have £5,000 at that point. So I was like, that's fine. So jumped. I think I got on the plane at Glasgow at 63 kilos. We flew to London. I think we flew to London, Dubai, then Dubai to Tokyo, and then when I eventually got to the promoter's office, it was a day before the weigh-in. They've chucked us on the scales like before we even went to the hotel and stuff. And I was away back up at like 68.7 or something in my pants. So we basically had to cut to 61.2, less than 24 hours. I think we got the sauna suit on, went for a walk in this park just to get moving a wee bit. Then it was the baths, and then we went to the sauna at night, and they wouldn't let one of our guys in because he was covered in tattoos and just like the usual shit. But it was just at that point I'd already made my mind up I was going to make it. But I could see Paul making it easier for some reason. He'd already made it before, but it became a competition. And I was like checking how much come off you there, and they'd like, oh, a kilo there, and I'm like, fucking 200 grand. Like, shit. So it was a drastic 18 hours, man. But I don't think I slept. I was in at the bath all night. Just, you know what it's like, man. But eventually I got down to 61.2 kilos, went and done the weigh-in. But people were staring at us to get the subway and stuff like that about to go for the weigh-in and stuff, and people were just looking at me and Paul like we're fucking zombies. But that picture keeps resurfacing in my mum's like, I didn't like that picture, don't show me that picture and stuff. But it was bad, man. It was rough.
Like, and even looking back now, like, so obviously, like, so James is sitting in like probably one of the best facilities on planet Earth at the moment now for fighting in a way. Yeah. If you haven't been there, you shouldn't be here. that name belongs to you for sure. But I'm going to use that picture as well and show people what this was like. And now you're sitting. Yesterday, I think you were in a hotel with a Formula One course going around the outside of it. And now you're sitting on the island.
It's pretty cool. Like I hadn't been in a plane and stuff like that until I was 22 years old. Like my mum and dad, like, we couldn't afford to go on holidays when we were kids. I think the first time I flew was for a fight. It was like the promoter had paid and stuff, and now like 20 odd years later, I've been just about everywhere. A bunch of times to America, Japan, Thailand, like all over Europe and stuff, and it's just been because of that. But people like we were saying earlier, people think I'm here on holiday, but I'm here working, and then they don't see the 20 or 30 years of training in huts, and then helping guys make weight and fighting in minors clubs and community centres and driving like all the way down to England for guys winning in 30 seconds, then driving up the road, and they don't see all that work. They think, oh, you're flying all over the world and you're on the fucking telly or whatever, but they miss all the shit that goes into it, pretty much.
Yeah. So now you're actually on the island, and he's had to quarantine. So can you tell us a bit of the kind of the steps it was to get in the fight, to what you have to do to?
Yeah. So we got just fast forward into the whole process here, man. We flew from Edinburgh to London Heathrow on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. They took us straight to a hotel, fired us in the hotel. Says that this was Wednesday 1 o'clock. We get in. They said the tester would come to the room and test you in the room. So we were in rooms separate. So there's four of us here. Danny's here, obviously, to fight, and the two training partners, Stevie and a kid, Mark Ewan's here. So they put us all in separate rooms. And I think all the rest of the kind of fighters that were flying for that hub were in separate rooms, and then some of the staff. And you're told, like, you're going to be in this room for 2 days. There's a room service menu. Don't leave the room. There's security looking at, and there's CCTV. So we've done that. We got tested, I think, 3 or 4 hours in. Some medical people came, they swabbed in the throat, then the one up the nose, and then left us. So 2 days later, the day that we're due to fly, we got an email saying these are good to fly. tests were all negative. Drop your bags off at 5 o'clock, come back down at 6 o'clock, and we're leaving. So we've done that. Went on a bus to Heathrow, went through private security right to the plane. So we never actually went into the terminal. And then we're on this big chartered Etihad plane thing. The fighters all got to sit in first class, which was pretty cool with the feet up. I got row number 38 near the toilets at the back, but nobody ran about me. I think there was like 40 is on the plane or something. And then just usual flight, no fight for the armrest. Got here, and then it was straight for the airport through the customs. They took our passport and then brought us straight to the island with a police escort. There's like 2 or 3 buses, I think. Got here straight to testing again, and then packed in a room for another 48 hours. So yesterday we came here, we get tested. Everybody's cutting about in hazmat suits with the masks and the visors, and then there's I think there's no one else in the hotel except for UFC people. Papped is in the room, but this time we're in rooms of 2, so I'm in with Danny, and then Mark and Stevie are a couple of rooms down, and there's a wee bit more space here, so we've been able to hit some pads and train a wee bit. But it's the same, we're watching TV, room service, and then I think tomorrow we're actually allowed to, if the tests are good, which they should be, we're allowed to kind of walk about this restricted zone that they've got. I think everyone's closed off on the island. So I think we can actually go to the beach and stuff like that tomorrow, have a look about. So, and then we've got access to the workout rooms, and it should just fall in like a normal fight week, I think. We get tested again on fight day. The fight's at a ridiculous time. I think the show starts at 2 a.m. I think Danny will be on about 4 a.m. finishes at 8 a.m. and then we're going straight to the airport to fly home the same day. And we get tested after the fight as well, actually. So it's 5 tests all in all. And then they're just restricting whenever we're outside the hotel room, it's a mask and gloves and stuff. It's different, like.
Yeah, I'm sure I have to say that sounds like a bit of a mad situation. But am I right in saying that they built roads and all sorts on the island? They built an airport?
Nah, we flew into the normal airport, but we came through different customs and stuff, and then we got a police escort. I think the island, I don't know if the water here is man-made or something, but it is attached to Abu Dhabi, but they've shut off all the roads, so the police got us through the closed roads to get in here. But you can see, like, looking out the window, you can see the rest of Abu Dhabi, but they can't get into this type of thing, so it is shut off. And once I get out and have a look about, I'll see more. I know Dana's been posting videos and stuff like that, but it's everyone's closed, man. Like, so they've shut the whole place down for the fights.
It's probably one of the safest places. If it really did a zombie apocalypse came off, looking at what's out there, like, it's probably one of the safest places.
Yeah, it looks like the place could sustain itself on its own, like, for a while.
But if that was Scotland or Ireland or something, make it like that.
I know. I'm phoning back home, and Lindsay's like moaning. Everybody's out boozing in the gardens and stuff like that.
Yeah. The social distance is over. I don't know if you've seen it, and the pubs were out the first time last night, and it was pretty short to say that it failed. It was like in the UK. I actually seen some videos where Chelsea was shot.
Some English policemen posted something like, drunk people cannot social distance effectively. That's shit. Fucking hell.
Well, listen, I knew that. As an Irishman, I knew that. You know what I mean? I was like, alcohol and rules do not mix. They become things to jump over after a few points. You know what I mean?
Scotland's a wee bit. We're a wee bit behind England with that stuff now. Like, I think we're maybe a week or 2 behind. I think they're maybe opening beer gardens tomorrow, but not pubs. I'm not sure what's going on there. But Nicola Sturgeon, the Scottish Prime Minister, seems to be doing everything different for the English Prime Minister.
I wonder why. In Ireland, the reason why, or in the world, the reason why we drive on the left side is because America drove on the right side, and England did not want, because being the dominant, did not want to be the same as America. Yeah. So they decided to drive on the left. So that's why we drive on the left. So that's an old thing, and anyway, so it's not just popping it out of the hat. So obviously the last little bit I'll leave you with after this is obviously a tough fight on your hands now as well. So Makwan, a really motivated Finn, is a good guy as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good wrestling. Good dash choke. Got a good finish against Paul Rimmer's guy. I forgot his Fish Gold, yeah. Worst Fishy, I was going to call him there, but I was like, don't know if that's offensive. I don't know. Did they call him that?
His nickname. That's his nickname.
All right, that's all right. Yes, I was just making sure. Let's be careful these days. So tough fight, but good fight. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a good test for us, man. He's a very capable fighter. He's a great fighter. He's one of the guys, like, sometimes you get fighters and you don't even like watching tape on them. It's like, I can't believe I have to watch this guy, but he's always had fun fights. I quite watch them, and he's got techniques that a lot of the guys in the gym hit. Like, we've got a lot of guys that like Darce and Anaconda and stuff like that as well. So I know he's exceptionally good at that stuff. So it was fun to study for. It's been fun to prepare for. Obviously, the training for this has been a wee bit different. We've not had as much time. We've not had a full team running about us, so 2 or 3 training partners and just in private sessions. But in some ways, it's been the most kind of personalised fight camp we've done, because every session Danny's done, there's been 3 or 4 years there, and you can see everything. It's not like you're training in a gym with 50 fighters or 40 fighters or whatever. So it's been really tailored towards this one fight. It's the first fight we've had in a while since Callum fought Bellator. So it's been cool, just adapting to the situation and stuff. And the fight should be good, man. I think Danny's got some stuff that can cause Makwan problems. Obviously, Makwan's got stuff that if Danny sleeps on it, there's going to be some issues. But it's a very good fight. I think it could be one of the better fights on the card.
Yeah, no, we do agree. I've had the pleasure to spar Makwan, and he's a good guy, yeah, for sure. And Danny, I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of a lot of your fighters, to be honest. I watched him, and he would be a great example on your team of someone that is different. Is a different style. And but I'd be right to say Danny came up through. Did he fight in UFC?
Yeah, it was there. He went there. Went there he was a lightweight, signed there at 4-1.
Yeah.
And just went on an absolute tear there. I think we got to like 10-1 or 11-1 really quick there. Won the world title. He beat the kid Cabeza that had beat Peter Queally. He stopped him there, and that was his last fight there. He signed for the UFC the second time he came to Glasgow. So that was a good promotion for him, man. He learnt a lot there. They exposed him to a lot of different styles. There's some good strikers there. He fought a couple of guys that wrestled at Commonwealth Games level and stuff. So he kept busy, and it just developed really, really quick there. So it's kind of stood him in good stead for the UFC.
Because you've had that, haven't you, where people have came through different organisations. So you've had the Ultimate Fighter, EFC,
Cage Warriors.
Yeah, Cage Warriors. Yeah, so you've kind of went through the road of the idea of what path is the one to make it. What do you think? Now I've asked this question as well of a few people. What do you think is one of the best roads for a young person that wants to make it to the UFC now, starting off? I'll leave you go after this.
Well, I'm actually getting involved with the IMAF scene for Scotland. I'm going to be. Mark Goddard reached out to us and just asked me to put together a board and stuff. So we're in the process of that just now. But I think, to be honest, I think that's going to be the best way for kids to come up and develop. You'll always get guys that will get in other ways, like just having amateur shows and local fights and stuff. But I think you're going to see the best guys coming through IMAF.
Cheers for that, James. I really appreciate you coming on, man, and sharing that bit of news. I was going to say bit of a story, but like, it's not a story. It's a brand new situation on an island where guys are meeting up, fighting each other. Probably where we all would have wished as kids that we could do something like this, like Kimute or something like that. It's
another dragon.
It has came through, so congratulations. Make sure you go to the bar later on and do the coin trick to somebody, because it will not be complete without that happening in the story. You know that. James, thanks so much, and I wish you the best. Give my best to Danny, and I look forward to watching an amazing fight out there, and stay safe, man.
Thanks, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers. Look after yourself. Thanks so much.
Take it easy, man.
Peace, brother. So, that was the No Shame podcast. James Doolan is an absolute a chest full of knowledge. If you're ever around Scotland and you get a chance to train with James, I suggest that you try and take up that opportunity, because not only is he an absolute amazing coach and a well of knowledge, he is an absolute cool guy. He's and they do battered Mars bars in Scotland and Glasgow. I had the privilege to fight there and then swallow a battered Mars bar and then die for the rest of the day. Don't think I've anything else to share there. Don't think I missed anything. Just listening there, the old rain and the heavens is at the coming down there. So good to see the old Irish weather back as well. So that was no shame. Look after yourself.